now. It's really loud. Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and today we're driving a 2020 Aston Martin V8 Vantage. And this is beautiful gray color. I'll put it in the description. I forget this color, but look at this metallic flake on this gray. I've never seen a gray as gorgeous as this car. And in the sunlight on a sunny fall day like today, it really, really pops. And you got that beautiful red interior, which we'll talk about in a second. So first, let's talk about keys. Aston gives you one expensive key and one so-so key. Now, for the V12 Vantage back in the day, they actually gave you one glass key that cost 4 figures if you broke it. So I'm going to try not to drop any of these keys. You have your standard lock, unlock, and pop open the trunk button. Tires, you have two 55/20s in the front. This car has steel brakes. I believe you can get ceramics as well. In the rear, we have two 95/20s. Now, the door's open, so we reviewed a 2017 NSX today also. As you approach it with the key, it automatically pops this door out for you. Aston Martin and any other car that I know of does not. So you actually have to pull it like a GTR. Now, because these cars were low to the ground, you see this on the first gen Vantage that came to the US model year 2006. Since the car is lower to the ground, it's meant to clear high curbs. So the way this arches up, no problem. And the older ones, the struts go and you have to replace them. Obviously, this is a pretty new car, so no issues here. Now, I'll show you some interesting thing about the cargo. It's a front mid-engine car, which we'll go over in a second. Now, these bumperettes back there, I saw in a Doug DeMuro video. Special thanks to DCH Acura and Tim and his team for providing this car. I bought my RDX from them, DCH, about a month ago. Now, I saw in Doug DeMuro's video, he said he'd never seen this before. This is in my 996 C4S. My first 911 was a 996 C4S, and I guess to meet the crash standards for the bumpers or parking lot, whatever it is, the 5 mile an hour with no damage, you have these bumperettes. Same as the 996 Porsche. So it is not a new thing. Let's see, pumping the trunk open, pop it open. Now, there's a divider in this trunk. So if the divider, so you actually have a lot of room for a two-seater, because remember, it's only two-seater. I could probably fit my hockey bag back here, probably take my skates out, maybe my helmet, put that in the front. With this divider, if I put this down, we can now have access to the front. So it's almost like a 911. You don't have rear seats, but you have this partial shelf. Now, if you have stuff here rolling around and you don't want it to come flying when you hit the brakes, you would keep this up like that, and then you have two distinct cargo areas. This would close it and cover it, and then you can put whatever, your laptop or something here, I guess, and then you know, whatever you have in the trunk, or have this as a pass-through. If I had my hockey sticks, I would just leave this down and that would be my pass-through. So pretty roomy and practical for a two-seater. You get locked in the trunk, here's one way to get out. Now, when you see a lot of videos and everybody says they can't find it, this is in Rob Ferretti's video and Doug DeMuro's video, 90% of the videos. Remember, this is a British car, and in England, they drive on the right? The steering wheel is on the right. So the hood release will not be on the left side, because these are limited production cars, okay? These aren't, I don't know, Jaguars where they're selling 10,000 of them, right? They're selling a couple hundred of these cars a year, maybe 1,000 if they're lucky. So the engine is right where it would be in England. The hood release, now of course I can't find it, but it's under here somewhere. And here it is. There it is, but it's all the way. So like it would be all the way to the left in an American car, like every car I've reviewed, and we've reviewed 1,000 of them now. Here it's all the way to the right. Now, this engine, if you follow the channel, will look very familiar to you, because it is the same engine in one of my favorite cars. It's an AMG engine, and one of my favorite AMGs is the, why won't this open? See, Glenn was so cocky that he knew how to do it. You have to do it twice. He was so cocky that he's the only one that knows where the engine thing is. He didn't do it 2 times. All right, so once you know where it is, you know where it is. And now the latch is open. Why can't I figure this out now? Here we go. Do we have to do it twice? They should have that. That's how you got to figure it out. Nope, that's not it. There has to be, there we go, right underneath. And now this is front mid-engine. So Aston Martin did another great thing. Hey, who makes some of the best engines in the world? Mercedes-AMG. So we're going to take your engine, and just like your car, we're going to make it front mid-engine. So you got the 2 air intakes going into the engine. You got the turbos in the hot V. It's a 4-liter V8 twin turbo. And you can see the entire engine, because remember that's the airbox, is behind the front wheel, giving it as close as we can to say a 50-50 weight distribution. Got a nice large hood here. This is probably one of the biggest hoods I've ever seen. The biggest hood I've ever seen for the size of the car was my Z3M Coupe. That hood was about half the size of the car. Here it's big as well, and proportionally to the size of the car, which of course is larger. Okay, so now we're going to start up and fire up that V8 turbo. There we go. Not crazy loud, not too quiet, but certainly not crazy loud. Probably an older buyer buying this car, though I would say it's probably a young person's car if you could afford it. Beautiful interior, very, very comfortable. I like everything about this. The buttons probably have some learning curve, but a lot of it is Mercedes, so I think you should be able to figure it out no problem. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to play around with the modes here, and we can do a regular mode, we can do a sport mode, and then we can play around with the shocks. So we have sport plus mode, track mode, or sport mode. So we'll drive it in sport just so it doesn't get too bumpy in here. We're going to release the parking brake. Navigation, let's see how the nav looks on this car. All right, so it's probably a nav from a few years ago. It's not 10 years old, but it's not, I would say, 2020 either. And this car's a 2020. We can press the camera. So finally, Aston Martin with this new Vantage has a 360 camera, which is pretty cool. All right, so we're in park right now. We go into reverse. Again, that it activates even how close we are in the camera. We're doing some parallel parking. You can see both of those bumperettes we talked about before. Then neutral. Why would you need neutral? I don't know, but we're going to put it in drive. And now we can get going. So we roll forward. Remember, it's a 8-speed torque converter automatic. The horsepower in this car, I don't think I mentioned it yet, 503 horsepower, 505 foot-pounds of torque. And again, this car defaults to sport mode. So when we turn it on, it is in sport mode. And actually, we are in Sport Plus right now. And now we're in manual mode. So I pressed it again. It dropped us down to third and then downshift to second. And now we are in manual mode. Now there's plenty of room in here. It's only a 2-seater. Plenty of room, plenty comfortable. Sounds really good. We really had some crackles and pops before in Sport Plus mode. We weren't even in track mode. The exhaust definitely has a burble tune on it. This car is pretty fast. Very smooth riding. A visually stunning car. Compared to the old Vantage, this was really, they really changed how this car looks, but it's grown on me, and now I think I actually like it better. All right, finally got the air. It wasn't on auto. All right, so defaulted to first gear at the stop there. I'm upshifting into second. We got a Mitsubishi. I don't think it's an Evo in front of it. I think it's just a regular Lancer. Air conditioning is powerful. I'll try to raise it a little bit. It's getting hot in here. All right, so very good visibility. The mirrors really stick out in this car, but you can see just fine with them. It does sound very AMG-ish to me, which is a really good thing. I think AMG has the best sounding V8 turbos. Anybody can make a V8, but it ruins the sound with the turbocharger. We'll give a little break here so we can take the turns a little quicker. Now, the torque converter automatic, say, compared to the dual clutch of the NSX, certainly doesn't shift as fast. It's definitely probably for a daily driver, smoother ride. So this car, you could be sitting in traffic going out to dinner with your significant other, and it's going to be a very, very smooth transmission. You're probably not going to do the driving I'm normally going to do with the car. For that, you'd probably be better off with a dual clutch. Or, let's do acceleration here. Or in 2019, this car was available 1 year only for with stick shifts. Now that almost made this an instant classic. If you could find any in the stick shift, the dealer's going to ask for an arm and a leg, so you're probably better off with this torque converter automatic because it'll be the best of both worlds. I really like this car, I really do. Maybe I'll have to do a comparison, the new NSX versus this. Now, when this car came out, I think because they changed the looks too much, and I think the very early ones, I forget what year that is, maybe 2019 model year, had some quality control problems, which they've improved. So for that reason, they actually had a very aggressive lease on it. It was like $1,600 a month. And you think, wow, that's a lot of money, $1,600 a month, but like a 570S would be about $3,000 a month. And these cars had stickers probably in that 165 range. What is this guy doing? He's just going 10 miles an hour. Okay, that's nice. All right. So again, the paddles are fixed to the shift's very smooth because again, it's a ZF. So not only is it an 8-speed torque converter automatic, it's the best 8-speed you can get, which is the ZF transmission. It responds almost instantly. If I look for the delay, I can find it, but most people probably wouldn't notice the difference. If you're used to PDK or, you know, a real dual clutch from a Ferrari or McLaren, you might be disappointed in this, but if you're coming from a normal car like an AMG or BMW, which also have torque converter automatics, I think you'll be very happy in how this shifts. It's certainly a lot smoother around town. And how can you not like a car that defaults to sport mode? All right, let's do those turns again. Downshift in a second. Remember, it's a torque converter, 8-speed auto. Wow. Wow, it is really loud. And we're not even in track mode, we're in sport mode. We're not even in Sport Plus, wow. And the handling is so flat. This car has a lot of theater, just like the V8 Vantages in the past. And honestly, I like this engine better. This AMG motor. The AMG GTS is definitely one of my favorite cars, and the fact that it's in the Aston Martin now, you know you'll have a reliable power plant for years to come. And honestly, I would probably do like a Rentec tune or whatever they have for Aston Martin, because I know those tunes are really reliable for Mercedes and doesn't even void your warranty. That's how reliable it is. I think it's really stunning from the rear to the car. This car, the diffuser, the looks are probably kind of in your face in the front of it. I think the paint, you know, what you're paying for on this car is style. You're paying for paint because, you know, they put a lot more money in this paint than anything else than you'll get from any of the competitors. The car's biggest competitor, honestly, is probably the 911. If you want to stand out, go with the Aston Martin. If you just want, you know, a car that there are a lot of, get the 911. Now, I've came close pretty much going back and forth with 911s and Aston Martins, and I've myself always chosen the 911. But you know, at some point, I'm definitely going to own an Aston Martin. My dream would be the V12 Vantage and stick. But now that with being a torque converter automatic, you can play around with those gears all day. It's not like an expensive dual clutch that could be fragile. At some point, I definitely will own one of these cars, either the new Vantage or the old one. And they have an old one here too. It's they have a 2009 here, which gives you the 4.7. Previous to that, we were 4.3 liter, and those are naturally aspirated, high revving V8s. The 09 they have, though, is an automatic. It's the single clutch. And I think Aston Martin made a perfect choice going with this torque converter automatic. All right, guys, that's our video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Check out DCH Acura in Verona, New Jersey for any new or used Acuras, and they always have about 80 Glen cars in stock, which are Lamborghinis, McLarens, Aston Martins, NSXs, 992s, you name it. And let me know what you want me to review next. Browse their inventory. Let me know what you want me to review from this dealership, and I'll make it happen. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.